My ex-husband cheated on me with my sister. It's been 6 years since, and I just received an email from him. Fast forward 6 years, I was in a much better place. I had a new apartment, a new job as a veterinary technician, and a new boyfriend, Zeke. He was sweet, caring, and the polar opposite of Felix. Life was good. One rainy afternoon, I was going through my emails, deleting spam and newsletters I never signed up for. That's when I saw it. An email from Felix. My heart skipped a beat. What the hell did he want? The subject line was simple. I'm sorry. I hesitated for a moment before opening it. The email was long, and as I read through it, my emotions went from anger to confusion to something I couldn't quite place. Dear Clemmy, I hope this email finds you well. I know I'm probably the last person you want to hear from, but I need to say a few things. I've spent the last 6 years regretting what I did to you. Cheating on you with Maggie was the biggest mistake of my life. I was an idiot, and I'm deeply sorry for the pain I caused you. Maggie and I are no longer together. She left me a year after everything happened. I've been in therapy, trying to understand why I did what I did and how I can be a better person. Part of that process is making amends, and you're at the top of my list. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I needed to tell you how sorry I am. You didn't deserve what happened, and I'll carry that guilt with me for the rest of my life. Sincerely, Felix. I sat there staring at the screen, trying to process everything. Felix was so sorry? Maggie left him? It was a lot to take in. I wasn't sure how to feel. Part of me wanted to delete the email and move on, but another part of me wanted answers. I decided to meet Felix, not because I wanted to get back together, hell no, but because I needed closure. I needed to look him in the eye and hear him say he was sorry. I needed to see if he really had changed. We agreed to meet at a local diner. I arrived first and took a seat in a booth near the window. I watched the rain pour down, feeling a mixture of anxiety and resolve. Felix walked in a few minutes later. He looked different, older, sadder. He spotted me and walked over, a tentative smile on his face. Clemmy, thank you for meeting me, he said, sitting down across from me. Felix, I replied curtly, not quite ready to let my guard down. There was an awkward silence as we both tried to figure out what to say. Finally, he broke the ice. I meant everything I said in the email, he began. I'm so sorry for what I did. I've spent the last 6 years trying to understand why I hurt the one person who meant the most to me. Why did you do it? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. He sighed, running a hand through his hair. I was a coward. I was afraid of how much I loved you, and I self-sabotaged. I thought Maggie was the easy way out, but it was the worst decision of my life. I looked at him, seeing the sincerity in his eyes. It didn't erase the pain he caused, but it was something. What do you want from me, Felix? I asked, my voice stronger now. Just a chance to apologize in person, to tell you that I'm trying to be a better man. I don't expect forgiveness, but I needed you to know. I nodded, taking in his words. I appreciate your apology, but it doesn't change what happened. I've moved on, and I'm happy now. You need to move on too. He smiled sadly. I understand. Thank you for giving me this chance. As we left the diner, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. I had the closure I needed, and I was ready to put the past behind me for good. Life went on, and I continued to build my new normal. Zeke and I grew closer, and I finally felt like I was in a healthy, loving relationship. We adopted a dog, a scruffy little mutt named Pickles, and our small apartment felt like home. One evening, Zeke and I were sitting on the porch, watching the sunset. He turned to me, a serious look on his face. Clemmy, there's something I've been wanting to ask you, he said, his voice filled with a mix of excitement and nervousness. I raised an eyebrow, curious. What is it, Zeke? He took a deep breath and reached into his pocket, pulling out a small velvet box. My heart skipped a beat. Clemmy, these past few years with you have been the best of my life. You make me want to be a better man every day. Will you marry me? He opened the box to reveal a beautiful vintage ring that took my breath away. Tears filled my eyes as I looked at the man who had shown me what true love and respect were. "Yes, Zeke, 1,000 times yes," I said, my voice choked with emotion. He slipped the ring onto my finger, and we embraced, both of us laughing and crying at the same time. It felt like a dream, one I never wanted to wake up from. Our wedding was a small, intimate affair, held in the same town where I had experienced so much pain, but also so much growth. Ruby was my maid of honor, and my parents walked me down the aisle. As I stood there, looking into Zeke's eyes, I felt a sense of peace and happiness that I hadn't felt in years. During the reception, as we danced under the twinkling lights, I caught a glimpse of Felix standing at the edge of the crowd. He gave me a small nod and a sad smile before disappearing into the night. It was a silent acknowledgement of the past and the paths we had taken since. Years later, Zeke and I welcomed our first child, a baby girl we named Clementine, in honor of the new beginning we had found together. Our life wasn't perfect, but it was ours, and it was filled with love, laughter, and a future we built on the ashes of the past. Every now and then, I would think about Maggie and Felix, wondering where life had taken them. But those thoughts no longer held the power to hurt me. I had found my happiness, my peace, and I wasn't going to let anything take that away from me again. So, that's my story, Reddit. Life has a funny way of kicking you when you're down, but it also has a way of lifting you up when you least expect it. Hold on to the ones who love you, let go of the ones who don't, and never stop believing that better days are ahead.